Well, I run a YouTube channel where I talk all about comic books and video games. I'm sure this is the film that you're all dying to hear about. But hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Quest for the Best, or whatever I'm going to call this that someone else hasn't already used the title for. I haven't done any research, but these are our good movie reactions. Every single year, I look at the films that everyone called the best of the year and the worst of the year, and I try and cram as many of those as I can into the month of January. And this year, we're doing reactions to each of those, all leading up to the end of the month, in which I'm going to give you my best films of the year and my worst films of the year list. And we have already done a worst of tonight. Let's do a best of. And this is one that so many people put on their best of the year list. And it's a film that I know my target audience doesn't really care about. So I'm going to say this video is probably going to get 250 views. To the 250 of you joining us right now, we are talking about Florence Foster Jenkins. And this is a film all about, and I should really take my phone out because there's a lot of names I'm going to need to remember for this. But this is a film about Meryl Streep playing, is it Meryl Streep? It's Meryl Streep. Okay, sorry. I know this is disrespectful because both of them are such incredibly talented actresses, but I always get her and Glenn Close confused. Which they're not even remotely alike. They're just like those two actresses who are like, yeah, which one is the best actress of all time kind of category. But she is playing like this heiress who cares all about the arts back in the 1930s, like right before, it's like 1940. It's like right before World War II broke.
Yes, I think the opening title said like New York 1939.
Yeah, it was like right around the 40s. But she cares all about the arts. She cares all about theater, she cares all about music, and she has been using her vast wealth from her previous husband to kind of support the arts in New York City. And she is also someone who really wants to be a musician, a singer herself. And this film starts off with her, it's her husband in the film, but I think in real life they were just companions. They were just, they never really had a title on the two of them. But in here, her husband is played by Hugh Grant.
Second husband?
Second husband,
yes.
Yeah. I should make that clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, her current husband, Hugh Grant, who also cares a lot about the arts and is helping her to pursue her dream and to really kind of encourage her to invest more of her money into the arts. And by the way, I gotta say, it's been a while since I've seen Hugh Grant. I forgot that dude could act. He's been trying to do like goofy comedies for the longest time. It was really good seeing him in like a serious role again. But she's decided, no, I'm finally gonna do it. I'm finally going to start singing. And they search for a piano player to accompany her, and they hire, hold on a second, I gotta look this guy's name up because he was really good in the film too. Simon Helberg is his name. Wait a minute. Oh my god, it's the dude from that show I hate. Big Bang Theory. Oh my god! It's the pervy guy from Big Bang Theory. Wow. Did not know that. Wow. Kudos to you, Simon Helberg, for making me like you in something. But yeah, he plays the piano player who they end up selecting, and his name is Cosme. He is such a soft-spoken, like, gentle, like, he is such a deer in the headlights type of character. Like, cause he can't believe this opportunity, especially when, like, she tells him how much she's going to be paying him. Like, I had to take out my phone and use, like, a little inflation calculator to be able to tell how much it would be in current dollars. And, like, she's paying him $20,000 a week. Like, it's insane how much she is going to be paying him.
And, like, the thing is, like, he was like a poor, rundown, like, pianist. Yeah. Who would like play at bars for tips.
Yeah, so this is huge for him.
Yeah, it's like, and she turned down like all these professionals who studied at Juilliard and everything for him because he has passion just like she does for the arts and
that's
music.
The thing, you can really tell that like she cares about this stuff. She cares about supporting the arts. And if you have never heard of this film and you've never seen the trailers or anything, normally, I know on these discussions, on these post-geek out reactions that we do, we go full spoilers. But if you have not seen this, I'm going to sum up for you our thoughts on this, kind of vaguely tell you where it goes without revealing too much. And if it sounds like something you're interested in, then just stop, go out there, rent it, check it out, because I do not want to spoil the twist in this. But then we will come back and tell you what this film is really about. So basically, it's her current husband, who is currently sleeping around on her, but he's like, yes, well, we have an understanding that, you know, love takes many forms. And it's like, it's the weirdest thing that, like, when you hear him saying this, it's like, normally anybody else saying this, you would be like, yeah, you're just using her for her money, you're just sleeping around. But, like, you really see how much he cares about her in here. And, like, no, this really is, like, a thing where it's like, no, he loves her, just not physically. And he physically loves this other person. And it's a very weird kind of arrangement. And it's like, all right, I kind of understand this.
It's like, is this like polyamorous? Like,
kind of, I guess. I guess that's how you describe it. But then at the same time, it's kind of like you eventually discover, like, yeah, she doesn't really know about the lady he's sleeping with. So it's like, yeah, you are kind of a dick at this point. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like anybody else would have written this character like he's just using her for her money. Mm-hmm. But it's like, they did a great job of really making you understand, no, he loves her. He really does love her as a person. And what a lot of what he loves about her is the passion. And, you know, Cosme, he starts off kind of being like, he doesn't know how to feel about Miss Jenkins. But then eventually, like, he just falls for her as well. He's like, she's one of the greatest people I've ever met. And she is one of these people who her passion and how much she cares about other people is infectious. It spreads to other people. Like, at the end of this film, you see her singing at Carnegie Hall. And originally, she just started singing in, like, her own apartment to, like, a small group of people that she invited and handpicked. And at the end of the film, you see some of those people from the beginning. And it's like, you can see, like, how she has touched them, how she has changed them. And it's great seeing that she has that kind of effect on the community. But also it's like, you know, this is around the time that we're going to war, and like she rented out half of Carnegie Hall just for troops, gave free tickets to troops. Yeah. And it's like, because she's like, no, they deserve this. Like, they're fighting for our freedom. They deserve. It's like, she is just such a sweet, charming person. And this is a film that is all about having a passion for the arts and just how one person's passion can be translated to other people and the effect that someone can have on their community. That's what the film was about, and I gotta say, I really did end up enjoying this. I don't know if it's gonna be on my best of the year list, but it might be. Like, at this moment, it probably is on the list. So I would highly recommend it. Okay. Now, for anybody out there who has heard that brief little description, and you went, you know what, that sounds good. I don't want to know what the twist is. I'm going to go out there, going to avoid all trailers, and I'm just going to go rent this thing right now. Awesome. Thank you. For everybody else who's like, okay, so what's this twist? Well, she has Cosme come over, and he starts playing the piano for one of her lessons, and she has one of these huge, like, talented musical voice coaches there. And it's like, yes, we've been working for a while now, and like, this guy is one of the world leaders when it comes to like vocal coaching. He's been helping her for the longest time. And then she begins singing, and she's the worst singer you've ever heard. But Hugh Grant's character is just like, yes, excellent, excellent. And like, when you start talking, when other characters start talking to Hugh Grant, you can kind of tell it's like, no, he just really is so passionate about her, he can't really see it himself, like at least in the beginning. Later on in the film, it's obvious that he realizes, oh my god, no, she is really bad. But like in the beginning, he's just like, oh yes, so lovely, like you can tell, he actually believes that. And the vocal coach, he just is like, I'm just here for the money. I am just here to play this old lady. I'm going to tell her that she's great. I'm going to like convince her that she still has room for improvement, just to like keep trying and make it seem like I'm not laying on too thin. But like, because there's moments in which like she's just and he's like, yes, picture what you're aiming at, go for it, yes, you're almost there. And like, Cosme, poor Cosme, this dude deserves an Oscar nomination. everybody's gonna talk about Meryl Streep deserving it because it's Meryl Streep and she always gets it. And don't get me wrong, she's great, she deserves it, but Meryl Streep always gets Oscar nominations. The guy who played Cosme, you know that old expression, acting is reacting? This dude was reacting his ass off. Like, just his face when she starts singing, and like every time that she's singing, and his reaction to other people's reactions, like, he's just the whole time, like, you can see every emotion that a human being could feel on this dude's face in response to it. And she is just horrifyingly bad, but no one wants to tell her, partly because Hugh Grant can't really tell himself. Cosme doesn't want to say it because, like, he doesn't know how to feel about this. The musical coach is clearly using her, like, he leaves right after that, the musical coach. And, like, him and Hugh Grant is writing him the check, and he's like, yeah, listen, I have a lot of other students out there. I would prefer if you never mentioned that I worked with her because it would make them jealous that I was spending time with her. Also, I'm not going to be here for her premiere. I'm going to be out of town. And Hugh Grant just goes, oh, well, when are you going to be out of town? And he goes, let me know when you book the date. Like, that's all he says, like, wow, what a scumbag. What a piece of crap. But then, like, oh, God. But then there's that moment right afterwards in which Cosme goes up to him and is like, we can't actually let her sing, right? And it's like, well, you know, she's been practicing so long, I think that she's ready. And it's like, it was in that moment that I was like, oh my God, Hugh Grant can't tell. Hugh Grant's character actually thinks she's good. Like, which isn't, again, another one of those things that lets me know he actually does care about her. Like, he's blinded by his love for her. Like, even if he is like a scumbag who is sleeping with another woman without telling her, like, he actually does care about her to the point where he can't tell how much of a bad singer she is. And there's like a whole, like, it's an elevator ride sequence in which Cosme is just like, I have to think about my reputation. And he's like, oh, well, then don't worry. This will surely help you out. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's like just a whole sequence of him trying to convince Hugh Grant she's a terrible singer. And he just has no idea what he's talking about. And you can just see Cosme getting more freaked out. That's like, it's going to destroy my career before it even begins. And yeah, throughout the rest of this film, like I mentioned a moment ago, at the end of this film when she's playing Carnegie Hall, you see a lot of the people from the beginning of this thing, and you see the impact that she's had on them. What I mean by that is that the first time that she sings in her apartment, in which they're just inviting like the snobbiest of the snobby music critics, which again was something that I kind of loved because none of them had a problem with it. They all thought it was great. But they were each like handpicked, and you can tell this is something that I say about a lot of critics out there. Not all critics, obviously, not even like the majority of them, but there are those select few critics out there who they just love stuff because they've been told they have to love it. Like, there are so many times that like artsy fartsy films come out that I go and see and go, this is garbage. The Emperor has no clothes in this. And yet the artsy-fartsy critics are just like, no, it was just a tour de force of emotions. Like, no, it wasn't. You just don't want to look dumb and point out how bad it is. You're afraid that all your artsy-fartsy friends are going to point at you and go, oh, well, you didn't get it. It's like, no, this is just bad. That's what this is. And I thought with a great little message in there, it's like, this is a room full of those artsy-fartsy critics. And they're just all there's like, oh, no, yes, I understand. Such a moving rendition. I've never heard anything quite like that. But there's like two people in the audience who clearly were guests of like some of those people, and they crack up and they are laughing their asses off. And then at the end of the film, all the soldiers that she brought in there for free, they start booing her and telling her to get off the stage, and she's like, what's happening? And then you see those two people from the beginning of the film who are laughing stand up and go, leave her alone, she's singing her heart out up there, yeah, Mrs. Jenkins, yeah, and they force the entire crowd to applaud her so that she keeps singing. It's like, that was an amazing moment. I love that
That
moment.
was great.
Yeah. However, that does bring me to one of the small problems I have with this film, which is that I would prefer to have seen a lot more of those characters and the impact that she was having on them, because you get little glimpses of them throughout like her rise her rise to stardom. Because, yeah, she doesn't just go straight from her apartment to Carnegie Hall. Like, she makes a record, and, like, it gets on the radio at one point because she's like, oh, people want to hear me sing. I'll just send them that. And this is at the point in the film in which Hugh Grant has realized, oh my gosh, she can't sing, and people are going to make fun of her. And he's just desperately trying to get every copy of it off the radio. Or, like, she gets one bad review from the Post after her Carnegie Hall thing, and he just goes and buys every copy of the Post in like a mile radius of where they live. But yeah, I would have really preferred to have seen those guys, because it was like, I get it, you gave me just enough to get that they kind of love what she does, and they love like why she's doing this, and they get that sense of her passion and all that, but it's like, it could have gone deeper.
Yeah.
Like, you could have given me way more. I was like, there's one like lady with a thick Long Island accent, and you follow her a little bit. But the other guy who was there, I don't remember seeing him at all since the beginning of the film when he was laughing. So I was like, you know what, are you going to give me a little bit more on that guy? You know, maybe a scene here or there. But yeah, and also I gotta say, I think the ending of this is quite beautiful. Like, we're going to full spoilers at this point. So the ending of it is, she reads her bad review in the Post, and she's an old, frail lady, and she's actually had, what was it, syphilis?
I think so.
She's had syphilis
Since
for like
her first wedding?
30 years.
Yeah.
And like the doctor was talking about it and going, I've seen people from syphilis not last 20 weeks. She's on 20, 30 years at this point. And Hugh Grant's just like, it's passion. It's the arts that keep her going. It keeps her pushing past all this. And like when she reads that bad review, it's like, yeah, her body has been failing her for a long time, and that was just the thing that did. But like
also, like, all the singing has done a lot of stress on her too.
Yeah, like you see bits of that too.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. And like after the Carnegie Hall performance, the day after, like she's just wiped that night. Like she can barely move that night. But so after that, she is basically just dying there in bed, and like she has like a dream sequence of her singing at Carnegie Hall, but like she now has a beautiful voice, and everybody's applying, and it's like, it would be so easy to look at this film and go, oh, it's the story of some rich old lady who just thought she was better than everyone else, and like she was actually terrible, but all of her rich friends applaud her, and she actually thought she was amazing. It's like, but that's not what it is.
No.
It's the story of someone who has passion. And the reason why you never look at her like she's a bad person or anything is because, yeah, she's rich, but she uses her wealth for other people. She is constantly trying to help other people at every step of the way. And it's like, that's one of the things that made her such a great character. And it's like, yeah, when you hear her like singing beautifully there in like her last moments as she's dying, and this is all just her fantasy, it's like, yeah, that really does make you go, you know what? That's what it was to her. And that's what it meant to her, and that's what's important. And she has like a great line there. I can't remember the exact way that she phrased it, but she was like, people might say I couldn't sing, but no one can say I didn't sing. I was like, that's something that all artists need to hear. It's like, you can get criticized. People can say that you sucked. People can say that your work isn't good. None of that matters if you get the work out there. Just do it.
Yeah, and put passion into it. That's the thing. That's the key thing. It's like, passion is like very important for the arts. Like, whether it's singing or for me it's drawing. Like, I've seen, people who aren't very good artists, but they draw what they love, and I can see the passion in what they do. Whereas I've seen other artists who are very talented, but, they draw stuff for money, and you can like tell
they don't care.
They don't care. There's no heart or soul in their art.
And also, a lot of the times in which you might wonder, well, how come this artist who isn't that good is so much more popular and gets so many more views and gets so much more work than this other artist who's really good? Typically, it's because that artist who isn't as good but is more popular, they get the work out there. They do it. You could be the greatest artist out there, but if you're only putting out like one thing a month, no one's gonna care. If you can put out like three things a day, people will look at you. I have always said this to anybody out there. I talk a lot about comic books on my channel, and a lot of people ask like, well, how do I get into the comic book industry? The number one thing that it takes to get into the writing or the artist side of the business, hit deadlines. it does not matter if it doesn't look as good as you want it to, get it out on time. And that's kind of what they're supposed to do, is like, I did the thing I loved. I don't care if people say I sucked. I loved it and I did it. That's the message of this film. It's like, that's an awesome message. So, yeah, man, I enjoyed this while I watched it, but I'm enjoying talking about it more.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those films that, like, the message behind it and just talking about these characters, it's making me way more passionate. Like, I said not long ago in this very video, I don't know if it's going to be on my best of the year list. It might be. Just talking about this, I'm kind of like, put it more into the positive side. Like, I'm kind of more like, yeah, I think this actually might get on my best of the year list. Like, every single year there's that one film that's like, if you're an artist, you have to watch this film. This is that film this year. Yeah, anything else you want to say about this?
Great costumes.
This is getting nominated for Best Costume Design, which normally is a department that I don't give a crap about because I don't know how the Academy votes on that. Not that the way that the Academy votes really matters one way or another, because the Academy is freaking crazy and is entirely flawed in the way they vote. But I can typically judge what they're going to pick. I can typically look at them and go, okay, I know how you think. You're going to pick this one. When it comes to costume and set design, I have no freaking clue how they vote. That one is a total gamble to me. But this one, it's fancy 1940s New York people. It's probably getting the nomination and the win. Yeah, all right. So yeah, I highly recommend this to anybody out there who is passionate about art in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this. As I said, throughout the month of January, we are going to be doing many more videos like this, in which we are taking a look at the best films of the year and the worst films of the year. I wonder which of those are going to get more views. And it's all leading up to at the end of this month, in which I'm going to do my top 10 films of 2016 and my worst films of 2016. So if you want to see those, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching, everyone. Come back next time.
Bye.
Bye.